Hey guys, so today we are going to make a bakery style fruit tart that everybody loves. So if you are interested, then keep on watching. First, we are going to make the flaky and delicious sweet pastry crust. So first, I am going to mix the powdered sugar and the salt together and just set that aside after we are done. Then in a clean bowl, we are going to mix the butter and the sugar together. But before mixing that together, I am going to whisk the butter together until it's pretty creamy. Because I always forget to put my butter in room temperature, so I'm just going to mix that around first before adding it to the sugar. So if you're like me, it will take about 2 to 3 minutes before the butter comes to room temperature. After that, you can just add in half of the powdered sugar and salt mixture to the butter and just add that in. After that's combined, add in the rest of the powdered sugar. And you should mix it for about 3 to 4 minutes or so, or until the butter has doubled in size. And it should look pretty fluffy too. So when the sugar has been all added to the butter, next we are going to add 1 egg yolk to our butter mixture and just mix that in. I think you know the drill now. We are going to mix in the egg yolk into the butter mixture. If everything is in room temperature, nothing should curdle. But if it curdles, it's fine. Just continue working on the pastry. And next, I am just going to add in half of the flour into our butter mixture and just mix that in. So after the flour has been added into the butter, add in the milk. Right here, I'm just using soy milk here, but you can totally use milk here, regular milk. And just mix that in. So when the liquid has been incorporated to our butter and flour mixture, add in the rest of the flour and just fold that in. As you are mixing it, you know that it will get a lot thicker and drier. It's okay because we are making a crust here. So by the time you're done, you should have something that looks similar to this. And next, I am just going to wrap it in a plastic wrap and let it freeze for about 30 minutes or so to let the gluten relax. While the pastry crust is taking a nap in the fridge, I am going to make the pastry cream. I'm just going to combine the flour and cornstarch in a bowl, mix that around, and add in the sugar, and then mix that around. This will prevent the flour from clumping when we add the milk and the egg. So when that's done, add in 1 egg and an egg yolk to the mixture. And also, don't forget the milk that you're going to add into the mixture also. And just mix everything in together until it becomes a smooth mixture, and we are going to set it aside until we need it. So when that's done, we are going to boil the milk. You just want it to be simmering, and when it's hot, we are going to mix that to the egg mixture that we made at first. So when the milk is hot, I'm just going to slowly add it into the egg and just temper it. You don't want to scramble the eggs, so this will help. And when all the milk is added back into the egg mixture, we are going to pour everything back into the saucepan and just stir it under a medium-low heat until it becomes nice and thick. You will notice that as you are stirring it, it will get thicker and thicker because of the starch and the flour we added in earlier. You know, when it's cooked, when it's popping, the pastry cream is popping up like this. You will see it later. Like now, can you see on the side of the bowl? That's when you know that it's fully done. So when it's fully done, remove it from heat, and we are going to add some butter to give it a shine, and then some vanilla extract to give it some flavor. So when the pastry cream is all done, we are going to transfer it to another container and then cover it with plastic wrap. Make sure that the plastic wrap is touching the surface of the pastry cream. This will prevent a skin from forming, and we are just going to let that chill in the refrigerator until we need it. So timing is our best friend. So by the time we are done with the pastry cream, our pastry crust should be done chilling in the fridge. And just take that out and roll it out to a nice square. I like to shape it into a round disc first and then continue rolling it. But as you continue rolling it, you will notice that it will get softer and softer. This is because of the high butter fat content that we have added into our crust, because I want a flaky and delicious crust. So by the time you roll it out to a nice round square about the size of your pan, you just want to pull it out using your rolling pin and just transfer it to a pan. This always happens to me that the pastry crust tend to break on me. It's okay, I'm just gonna play it like Play-Doh and just mold it back to my pan. You will see here that the crust is really delicate. It's because of the butter that I added in. I'm sorry, I love butter in pastry crust or else it won't be as delicious. So I'd rather have delicious crust rather than dry and crumbly crust. Just make it work. I mean, like, use your imaginations. Make the sides a little bit thicker and the bottom a little bit thinner. So this will support the fruits that we are going to put on top later. Use the most useful tool that God gave you, the hands. That's how I got through making a lot of pies in my life. And after that, I am just going to prick it on the bottom a billion times. I mean, as much times as you want. And I'm just going to let it set in the refrigerator for another 30 minutes or so to just let it rest. So your crust won't shrink as much later when you bake it. So 30 minutes later, I am going to pull it out from the oven and start baking it. But before that, I am going to lay some pie weights on top. And I also recommend using parchment paper instead of Silipad. Just lay something over the pie, and then I'm going to put some beans or pie weights on top of it and bake it in a preheated 375 Fahrenheit oven for about 10 minutes or so, and pull it out from the oven, remove the pie weights, and bake it for another 5 to 7 minutes or until the top has become golden brown, and pull it out from the oven and let it cool down. So I have let my pie crust rested and cooled and removed from the baking tin, and I'm just gonna put the filling, the pastry cream that we made at first, on top of the pie crust. And then you just want to quickly smooth out the top using whatever tools you have on handy, and just cover it with a plastic wrap and let it sit in the refrigerator for about 15 more minutes or so. After 15 more minutes or so, just take it out and use whatever fruits your heart desires, or whatever fruit that is in season, and just decorate it. There are a lot of pictures online that if you Google up fruit tarts, you can find a lot of pictures of fruit tarts. And just use them as inspiration. You don't have to do the exact thing that I'm doing here. I just do whatever I feel like, basically. I have tons of fruits on hand because these fruits are super sweet right now because they're in season and I love them. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe as much as I did, and I'll see you guys very soon. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and subscribe here on YouTube, and tag me on Instagram if you have made any of the desserts. I would love to see them.